Hi, Jeremy here at Modern Vitality. So we're going to be making some beans. Instead of from a can, we're taking raw beans from a farmer that have been dried and we're soaking them and cooking them kind of properly. So I don't really trust the can linings, the non-BPA plastic and all that. Anytime we can avoid that, it's best to do that. So I took these beans last night and they were dry and I soaked them overnight. So when you do this, you want to put at least double the amount of water. So these beans used to be about this much, but they'll plump up in size. So use nice, good filtered water. I like Berkey for that. But anyway, we've got these ready to go. So now we're just going to strain them, rinse them, and then we'll be boiling them. So very simple. We're just going to strain these out in a colander and just pour them right in and try to get them all. We've got these cool over-the-sink strainers that my wife found, and it's silicone and there's metal inside here. They're really strong and actually they can roll up. You can do a lot of stuff with this, but you might find these handy for draining anything like pasta. You can put the colander right on top, so I like that a lot. And then we're just going to rinse it, give it a good rinse. What we're trying to do here is get everything off of the beans, because they say like, oh, beans are the musical fruit and they give you gas. And you can avoid that if you just soak them properly. You can even sprout them a little bit and then give them a really good rinse. And then when we cook them, when we boil them in the pot here, we're going to strain them after they're cooked and give them another rinse. So here they go. They're going in the pot. And then the next thing we're going to do is put some water in here, get it boiling, and we'll let them go for about 2 hours. So our next step with the beans is put them in the pot, and we're going to add a bunch of water. We want to make sure that they're more than covered and get that going. So we're going to go on very high heat, get it boiling, and just like with broth, you want to have it on a low simmer. So we're going to get it boiling, and then we're going to turn the heat down and just let them simmer for about an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depending on the beans. You're going to want to come in with a little fork and just poke one and check and see if it's soft. About an hour, hour and a half into this. And once it's soft, like you would eat it, then you can go to the next step. All right, so let's check the beans. They've been going a couple hours now. I'm just gonna take a fork, drop it in. There's one. They're very soft, easy to pierce with the fork. And well, they're hot, but they're soft. So I'm just gonna take this over here to the sink. And we've got this little magic thing my wife found. It's a strainer that clips onto the rim of a pot. This is really cool for making this much easier process. And I'm just going to strain out the water that I cooked them in. So we'll get rid of that. And what's left of these beautiful dragon's tongue beans. And I'm just going to give them a little more rinse. Because I want to get all the cooking water off of them, because that's where you can see all the bubbles here. This is all the stuff we're trying to get rid of so we don't eat it, because guess what? The bubbles all over the beans, those are the bubbles that would be in your tummy. So we're getting rid of all that stuff so that we can just have beans that are much easier to digest. And depending on how thorough you want to be, you might give it one more shot. Give them a good rinse. And now we've made beans without relying on canning. So again, you got to think ahead, right? Remember, I left these out to soak overnight, and then I took a couple hours to let them simmer on the stove. So as long as you plan ahead, you can get away from the plastic lining in the cans. But now we've got beans, so when we go to make a stew, for example, we can use these instead of having to crack a can. If you're struggling with a complex chronic health condition like Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, mold exposure, chronic fatigue syndrome, anything autoimmune, any of this post-viral fatigue, any of these knotty, complex chronic conditions, you don't have to do it alone. We've got a fantastic group. It's people all over the world. We're international. It's free to join as a guest. I'm in there every single day answering questions. You can learn a lot about your health, not just cooking, right? We're looking at specific stage-by-stage healing processes to untangle these knotty conditions. We're also looking at specific herbs, breathing exercises. It's a great place to be. Everybody's very positive. There's a lot of support. So I'd encourage you, you can find the link to apply. It's around here somewhere, probably in the description of the video. And if I see your application, it looks really good, I'll get you in just as soon as I can. There may be a bit of a wait because we do tend to fill up. All right, let's get you feeling better. Cheers.